Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org. Many of you told me that the Facebook, I'm not on that anymore, was down today and my phone was not playing along, which is why it took me a little bit to get on here with you. So hopefully we are not going to have too much lag here on the live stream. So we are talking about action against the milky skies. I broadcast a video for you yesterday, my interview with Jane Wigington, and I got the, like climate change contrails banner on the bottom means that the words. So I am calling this taking action against the milky last week about all the things that were bothering me. I had about a dozen. There's a lot more, but those were my top things. And the number one for me is the spraying in the skies. And I know plenty of people have plenty of questions, and I'm going to do a video for you tomorrow all about answering people's objections. And we're going to look at the questions that they come up with. And I want you to tell me the question. I'm already getting all hot under the collar. We haven't even gotten going with the video, but this is such literally a hot button topic. So let me calm myself down a little bit. And I would like to hear from you. What questions or objections do you hear from people when you're trying to tell them, look, these skies are not normal? I'm going to show you what the FAA said. I'm going to show you what the EPA says. I'm going to show you what the State Department EPAs are saying, because you, my lovely, healthy Americans, took action. You immediately took action. You wrote emails, you made phone calls. And on this broadcast, I'm going to share with you I'm going to highlight three amazing healthy Americans. And I'm going to show you exactly what they did, where they went, and what the responses were. Now, if you want to consider yourself a healthy American, make sure that you are resubscribe to this channel. I cannot tell you how many people have been emailing me and leaving comments saying that they've been unsubscribed 3, 4, 5 times and they have to keep resubscribing. Why does that matter? We need to outwit the YouTube algorithm. I think they finally lifted the lid a little bit, and I got like 182,000 subscribers after being stuck at 181 for a year, because they're just throttling my videos. But we can outwit them, just like we can outwit whoever those nitwits are that are poisoning the skies. Now, let me know in a comment below, have you taken action? What action did you take? If you want to suggest some actions for people to take, and most importantly, help me prepare for tomorrow's video related to the objections that people give you when you're trying to have a conversation. All right, while you're doing that, I'm going to bring you a word from the sponsor, and we're going to hop on over to, I think I already have it here for you. This is noblegoldinvestments.com. Let me bring you right on over. Friends, I've been telling you about Noble Gold Investments. It's the only gold company that I trust. You want to get your questions answered by making a call at 877-646-5347. Let me see. My eyesight's not that great. I want to see. Oh, my eyesight is improving. My eyesight is improving. That's where you can call for expert advice. Now, you are going to speak to somebody in the United States. They are going to help you answer your questions to figure out if this is a good fit for you. And let me also show you this image, and then I want to read you the message. So you can also get this gold standard coin. It's a 1/4 ounce. You will get it if you qualify for their IRA. So let me just bring you the message, make sure I have all of my information. Of course, there's always a risk of investment. There's no guarantee of any kind. But if you look at the banks, you'd think there's nothing wrong. But then you look under the hood and it seems like everybody's getting itchy feet, so to speak. Think about commercial property, car loans, credit cards. They're at all-time highs. And some people have their money in the bank and they're getting a 3% return. But if you get Noble Gold Investments on your side, even if the banks crash again, you'll be okay. So talk to them about keeping your money safe with precious metals. I know some of you say, Peggy, it's not for me. But for those of you that are want to find out more, give them a call. Or also go to noblegoldinvestments.com. The experts are waiting to help you. And again, you get that 1/4 ounce gold standard coin for free if you qualify. So call before it's too late. And I've interviewed the CEO on my channel a couple of times. It's a gold company that I trust. So I hope you'll check it out and see if it's a good fit for you. We are going to be talking about taking action. And I'm going to let you know why taking action is so important. But let me I want to share with you 3 incredible stories. And I've got to hand it to you, my healthy Americans. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You're savvy, you're sophisticated, you're smart, not like the smart cities. You're authentically smart, you're supportive, and you're sometimes snarky like I am, and you are willing to take action. In fact, let's give a thumbs up and some applause to our moderators. We've got Ava, we've got Valerie, we've got Rhonda, and of course, Olivia working hard behind the scenes. And I literally could not do these broadcasts without them. I appreciate all of you keeping the chat flowing, and that's how we support each other. So there are those of you that are contacting various government agencies to lodge your complaint. And it's so obvious that they are blatantly spraying in the sky. You know, I have to say, for me, the reason why this is number 1 on my list is because it is so visible. Now, I can't really tell who became a human pincushion and who hasn't. As a matter of fact, I am shocked on a daily basis when I hear from people just in a matter of fact conversation saying, oh yeah, I had to wait in line to get my, third, fourth. And I'm looking at them going, it's like, it's not even worth having a conversation with them if they're that far gone. So those things are kind of invisible. I personally have not seen the onslaught of all of the visitors that have been escorted in. So personally, I'm not being affected by that. I may at a certain point, definitely down the road. I know that open borders, they're going for it, hook, line, and sinker. I am definitely being affected by the kangaroo courts, although I will bring you a video coming up about the ruling about Trump and the Colorado ballot. It was no surprise to me because that was completely bizarre. But the fact is, those are the things that really bother me. The migration, the bringing in the visitors, as they're called. Well, I think their visit is up, don't you? Don't visitors go home? And these kangaroo courts, which really shows that our constitutional republic is crumbling. But every once in a while, we are up by these great rulings, and then persist against them. They are calling, and by they I mean the FAA, right? The Federal Aviation Administration, the EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency, and then we've got NASA. I'm sorry, I can't even say that word without laughing. And the NOAA, which is the National Oceanographic. Okay, they're all government agencies. And yes, they all are in on it. And how do I know this? Because they all are promoting the same propaganda. And their propaganda is calling what we see as unnatural, phenomena in the sky. They're calling it persistent contrails. So I'm going to call it persistent poisoning. That's going to be my new phrase because that's what it is. And the reason this troubles me so personally, I try not to take things personally, but I do. I don't think they're following me around and like spraying in my area just to get me. But they're after all of us on that. And there are ways to fight back. I never want to leave you in the doom and gloom. I know some of you gave comments about Dane on both sides. There were some that said he's a hero in the movement. Thank you for having him on. He's got so much great information on his website. And others of you are very skeptical about the message that he's sending. And I certainly don't agree with him on CO2. I don't agree that it's man-made climate change. Well, it is. Because those that are spraying in the air, they're the ones that are doing it. And I certainly am not in favor of more regulations and restrictions and all of that. So if that's the direction that he wants to, have people follow him, I'm not going to follow that way. There is a lot of information on his site, and he is a person that has brought a lot of this information to the forefront. So having said that, many of you left the comment of the doom and gloom and the sky is falling literally, and you didn't care for that message. I don't care for that message either. So that's why I am always solutions oriented. But to get back to the reason why this troubles me so much, and you have told me pretty much the same thing, is it affects everything in our daily life. Now, personally, you may find this kind of odd by saying it, but I'm not affected by the, injections. I'm not affected by the pincushions. I'm not affected by any of that because I don't participate. Hashtag never have, never will. Never suffocated myself, never certainly had a nasal Schwab attack or assault. And I never participated in becoming a human pincushion, nor will I ever. So I don't need a law against that. I don't need to have these products removed from the shelves. I don't need any of that because it's my choice and I ain't participating. Now, the problem with the poisoning, the persistent poisoning of the skies, is that I don't get to opt out. All right. There's no religious exemption. There's no consent to that. There's no, I do not comply. I mean, it is happening and it happens to everyone. And that is part of one of the troubling aspects to it, is that it seems as if we are just victims of this, which is why it's so important to take action so that you can be empowered rather than powerless. And I'm going to explain to you exactly why taking action is important, even if the results are not what you want. I already can hear and see what you're writing and thinking. Why take action if we're dealing with corrupt agencies? I'm going to tell you why in just a little bit, so stick with me. It makes a difference. And the other reason why it troubles me so much is it literally is depressing. It literally sucks the oxygen out of my lungs. Many of you have said the same thing, that you are getting itchy eyes, you're wheezing, you don't feel good. Of course not. Why would you, with all of this persistent poisoning in the air? So it does affect people. It affects them differently. Some people are more robust. Other people may, have tendencies toward different illnesses or what have you. But the point is, it does have an effect on each and every one of us. For me, even though I have a rather robust constitution, I don't really get sick, but I am sick, and I'm sick and tired of the depressing, oppressive skies. Now, growing up and living in an area where we basically have, 350 days of sunshine a year, something like that, a moderate climate, it's not the case anymore. In my many decades on this earth, I have never seen such extremes in the weather. And there are those, even in my healthy American family here, that are going to say that that's man-made, climate change. And I'm going to refute that, because it is, it is man-made by those men or drones that are in the sky poisoning the skies. So yes, that is true. The problem is that they're turning it around and taxing us and regulating us and suffocating us and strangulating us. That's a word. And pushing businesses out of California. I had a healthy American just email me. I'll have to do a video coming up on it, that they have modeled their Clean Air Act on Californians, which is the most oppressive, the most restrictive, the most bizarre, and the least in, accordance with reality. So the fact is, it's very, very depressing to be exposed to these milky skies. We thrive on sunlight. The Bible tells us that God created the sun and the moon, the two luminaries. All right. There's not all those other suns that they're trying to tell you about. No, there's one sun and one moon, probably a lot closer than we think, because there's no such thing as light years. I mean, what did they do? Measure it? I'm sorry. The whole concept of Einstein's light year thing doesn't, and Newton and all the others that are in on it, never made sense to me. Anyway, I digress. The fact is, we need sunlight. Let me stick to my topic here. A lot of you are already clicking off going, flat earth, or I've never said that the earth is flat, just for the record. All right. That's not my belief. I don't have any evidence that it's spinning, however, and the Bible doesn't say that it's spinning. The Bible says the exact opposite, that it has been established and it shall not be moved. So that's also a topic for another day. If you look at the Bible, in fact, I have a healthy American sent me a beautiful picture of the firmament, and that I'll have to share on an upcoming video. The point that I'm making is, we need sunlight to thrive. We need it for our health. We need it for functions in our body. We need it for our mental health. So just our well-being. Plants need it, right? All life thrives with sunlight. It is a fact that Bill Gates has donated millions of dollars to Harvard for their solar radiation management program. I've done a video on that in the past. I'll have to do it again. Those of you that may be new to the channel, if you click on my weather playlist, you will see oodles, I love that word, and oodles of videos all about the weather and the patents and the cloud seeding and weathermodification.org, where you can actually go and see where these projects are being carried out. So it's nothing that can't be found. It's all there, literally in black and white. So I am personally affected by these milky skies. It's depressing. Not only is it depressing, it's a constant reminder of what the bad guys are doing. And I don't like that. I don't like to feel oppressed. I want to feel free. I want to live fully and freely. And I know that you do as well. So let's talk about you. Let's talk about the actions that you've taken. And again, in an upcoming video tomorrow, I'm going to answer some of the basic objections. These are the few that I've come up with. These are just persistent contrails, right? These are just ice crystals from water vapor, low temperatures and high altitudes. How come we didn't have them back in 1970? Were there no ice crystals from water vapor back then? How come, like, on a given day, there are no planes flying that day when there's a blue sky? Okay, it would take too much planning and resources to have pulled the wool over people's eyes. People are far too clever and discerning. They would never fall for things hook, line, and sinker, would they? How could they all be in on it? Yes, friends, every single person, every single human on the planet has to be in on it in order for it to be carried out. Why would they do this? And aren't they suffering the consequences too? Now, in all seriousness, I'm going to answer those questions, and I will have a handout for you on the Substack so that, well, I will have a Substack on it, and then I will have that available for you so you can have these sophisticated conversations with others who don't quite understand reality. So first, a round of applause for all of you that took action. And for those of you that are going, oh, I was going to and I didn't. Now's your chance. All right, I'm going to show you and share with you exactly what the Healthy Americans did. I also have a Substack that I just did along with the video called Simple Actions You Can Take. And you know what? They don't cost a dime. So I already gave you a couple of those. My assistant, Olivia, researched all of the agencies in every state. I think she forgot New Mexico. And then she said, well, it's a lost cause anyway, probably like California. But seriously, I think we've updated that Substack. So she has a link in every state where you can make a complaint. And I'm going to tell you at the end of the video why doing that matters. All right, first of all, let's do this. Greg from California, and he is a Healthy American. I want to share my screen here, and I want to show you exactly what he did. If you came to either of my Thanksgiving events, then you know Greg because he was providing amazing music, completely free, by the way, to support the Healthy American. And here is what he did. He contacted the Santa Ana Watershed Authority to investigate their cloud seeding activities. He got a lengthy phone call message back inviting him to attend the commission meetings. Now, this is, I have a link to the website, and it actually is right here. So, friends, I mean, I don't know how much more clear this can be. Weather modification, cloud seeding in the Santa Ana River watershed. Santa Ana is the county seat. That's where the public servants meet to do their evil activities in Orange County, California. And here it is. Here is what they are doing. And I've got this on the Substack as well. So in December of 2023 and January and February of 2024, here is what they are doing. It's right on the website. And they are talking about cloud seeding. Now, I've covered this many a time in previous videos. This is not the time to do it, but you can click through and learn all about the silver iodide that is released into the air. And I also showed you on previous videos that this silver iodide that probably comes from Thermo Fisher, which, yes, is a Chinese company that provides a lot of chemicals and also testing kits, because, you know, they're so accurate. Yeah, for the nasal swab testing. They made a mint off of that, I'll tell you what. So anyhow, those silver iodide particles, yeah, they're harmful. So that's what they're spraying in the air. Yeah, I know, it's just amazing, isn't it? So anyhow, you can see all of that. And I'll have a link for you. And what is so great about this is I want to read you what Greg emailed to me. And he said, oh, I also want to show you the targeted areas. Let me share my screen again. So really appreciate this information. I literally could not do this without my Healthy Americans. So here is where they're doing it. And let me see if that will enlarge. And of course, not to mention, I'm sure this has nothing to do with it whatsoever, like the record rainstorms that we've had in Orange County and this area. So, and Los Angeles. So here's Santa Ana. I'm kind of down here. Here's San Clemente, my neck of the woods. Huntington Beach is a freedom city. You should all move there, support what they're doing. And here's where they're doing all the cloud seeding. So I've got Healthy Americans. This is called the Inland Empire over here, Riverside and all of this area. And they have also just been pummeled. I'm talking about inundated with the persistent poisoning. It is absolutely stunning. So I want to tell you what Greg emailed me. He said, they're not even hiding anything, right? They're like showing you right on the website. And remember, I've done videos previously about the harms and the risks of that silver iodide crystal, what they're doing and releasing that. So Greg wrote to me and he said, Peggy, having been a lifelong surfer and an outdoorsman, especially here on the SoCal coast, time out. It's been on my mind, friends. It's not called Cali. Okay. No one who actually is a native Californian calls the state Cali. Cali is a city in a country called Colombia. So it's called California and it's called NorCal. Like that's San Francisco, San Jose, all of that. And then there's SoCal. That would be from Los Angeles all the way down to San Diego. And then there's Central Cal or Central Coast also. And that would be Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, Santa Cruz. So even people that moved to California, like, I don't know, in the 80s or something, like they would never call it Cali. I think it came from a rapper or something. But just to let you know, I know there's all sorts of like Cali, whatever, but just a public service announcement. Since I'm all about truth and I'm not holding back, it's not Cali. Okay, having said that, it's SoCal is where I live. Probably like, do people call it, I don't know, do they call new, well, that's another topic for another day. Greg says, here on the SoCal coast, I have surfed and spent full days, 8 hours plus in the sunshine. On days when the skies are blue, I come home tan and tired. On the days when they are not, I come home coughing and sneezing with watery eyes. I've been experiencing that my whole life, but it wasn't until recently that I was able to understand why. At this point, I will not be silent. I pray that my action will indeed inspire others to do the same. It's quite simple to make the phone call. And now that I have the meeting scheduled, perhaps more people can take action. So what happened is he got a phone call back from some person in this watershed authority. And they said, why don't you come to the public meetings? We have commission meetings the first and third Tuesday, and the schedule is on the website. And why don't you come and find out and give your opinion? It's like, brilliant. Now, Greg taking that action, number one, he alerted the woman that he knows the score. And maybe she is still waking up, or maybe she's in on it. And if she is, that would be quite an irritation to have people calling and saying, we know the score. We know what you're up to. Secondly, Greg felt empowered. He didn't just complain about it. He made a simple phone call. And thirdly, he wants to inspire other people to take action. Bravo, Greg. You are an awesome, healthy American. You've contributed so much to our freedom movement, and I appreciate you. Hope to see you on the railroad tracks, catching as we're riding our bikes to go catch some waves. Not on the railroad tracks, friends, but the beach is right along the railroad tracks. All right. Karen from Florida. Karen, you are also an awesome, healthy American. She contacted the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. And we're going to take a look at that. Let me share my screen. And here we go. And as I mentioned, friends, you can get where to make your complaint on my Substack called Simple Actions You Can Take. And a big thank you to Olivia for pulling that all together. So here we go. She went to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and that's a good place to start. And let me tell you exactly what came back. And I think this is really important information. So the gaslighting and the propaganda that came back is absolutely stunning. I mean, it's off the charts. So the state agency promptly replied with links to aircraft contrails fact sheet. I'm going to share that with you in just a moment. I think that needs its own entire video, but I will share it with you. And then in an upcoming video, I'm going to break it down paragraph by paragraph. It's full of baloney. Let's do that. Let's take a look at this aircraft contrails fact sheet, shall we? Oh, now what I'm going to do actually is, here we go. I want to scroll all the way to the bottom because you've got the EPA. This is who published it, but look at who else is on board. You've got the EPA, you've got, I'm sorry, I can't even say that. I can't even say that word without laughing. Oh, did you know they're sending people to the moon again? Yeah, it's only been, what, 60 years? I'm sorry. They said they lost the technology. Yeah, the beautiful woman, Jeanette Epps, who is going on this new whatever. Yeah, she is CIA. It says so in her bio. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? So we know that they are like really trustworthy. And then we've got the NOAA, which is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And then this one's a little blurry because they couldn't get a good graphic artist, I guess. And this is the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration. So if you contact any of these agencies, it's likely that they will send you the exact same handout. And look what's on this handout. I mean, talk about, okay, here they are right here in their own document. And they've got it right here. They're trying to normalize it. It says persistent contrails. And contrails evolving, because, you know, evolution is a thing. I'm sorry, that has to be refuted in another video too. Yeah, no, it's the opposite. We're de-evolving. Just look in the mirror. Things break down, they age. All right, it's called the second law of thermodynamics. All right, I'm having way too much fun with you today, friends. Okay. It says they're spreading into cirrus clouds. Yes, that's how God made clouds, from contrails. Thank goodness for jet engines, or there would never be any clouds in the sky. Now, it just goes on, and I know I'm going backwards here. It just goes on and on. So I'm going to have another video where I'm going to break this down paragraph by paragraph, but let's just suffice it to say that this is kind of where all roads lead. They're all leading to this propaganda and this hogwashing, stating that it's, you know, it's humidity and it's water vapor. And, you know, we don't know why it didn't happen like in the 1980s. And we don't know why it's not like every single day. It's just, you know what? I couldn't write a comedy show that's more hilarious than this. So I really want to applaud you, Karen, for getting that information, because now we know where they're sending everybody. Let me go on, because I've got another one to share here. So yeah, let me just enlarge this for you. I think this is just so funny. So here we go. This is from the EPA and the FAA and all the alphabet agencies. I mean, if these are flight patterns, those pilots better go back to aviation, to flight school. Seriously. And what about where there are no airports? Just asking. All right, let me go on here. So yeah, the EPA is trying to tell us that these are clouds from contrails. I also have so many videos prepared for you, friends, coming up, or that I want to prepare for you coming up. Another wonderful Healthy American, Pastor Ricardo, just alerted me today. He was also posting some information on Facebook about this and asking people to send in their photos. And you can send them to us as well, support@thehealthyamerican.org. You're not bombarding us. We want to see these photos. And I want to continue to, I don't know, make a library or something on my Substack, which, by the way, is free, peggyhall.substack.com. Some of you have upgraded to a paid subscription, which I really appreciate. Helps me do that work. And if you find value in what I'm doing, friends, I thank you for your support. I literally could not do it without you. There are links in the description box below if you would like to show your gratitude. All right. Here's what is so interesting. Pastor Ricardo said that in the, I think it was in the 80s and the 90s, there was a whole, probably in the 90s, there was a whole propaganda effort going on in the schools, and it came from these agencies to indoctrinate the students to make them think that these actually were clouds. And that's probably why people under a certain age, they're really dealing with a handicap. They're dealing with a mental and intellectual handicap of being indoctrinated into these lies. It's very difficult to undo. And so the first thing is, don't send your children to school. And I have all sorts of remedies available for you as well. Let me know in a comment if you would like to have more content on my freedom learning ideas and curriculum and philosophy. It's available for everyone, regardless of age, of your child's ability, of whether you're divorced or single or anything like that, whether you have time or don't have time. I actually have a remedy for every challenge. So let me know if that is of interest to you, and I'll do more content on the freedom learning. We've got to get the children out of school. I was in public education, not in the K-12, but at the college level for most of my career. I was actually a teacher of teachers, and I ran the professional development programs for K-12 teachers. So I know what they were teaching these students, and I tried to unindoctrinate them by focusing on student-centered learning, which is the students doing their own exploration and discovery and not having such a rigid curriculum where you're supposed to just memorize instead of question. I mean, questioning is how you learn. All right. So here's what I want to do. I want to share with you one other email from another healthy American. And this is Jamie from California. Absolutely incredible. And Jamie contacted the CARB. Yeah, let's go low carb, shall we? It's the California Air Resource Board. And I shared that in a previous video. And I recommended that you contact this agency. And that's exactly what she did. Here's the brainwashing again with this car. You know what? I have another idea for a car where it's less expensive. It doesn't break down as much. And it's cheaper to run. There's no battery in the landfill. The car is lighter, so it doesn't damage the roads. Oh, yeah, it's a combustion engine. Guess what? They've been around for since 1920 or something. All right. I don't know exactly what year the cars came on the market, but yeah, they're going backward in time. So anyhow, she contacted the California Air Resources Board as a good place to start. And I want to share with you exactly what this email exchange was. And then I'll finish off by letting you know why I am applauding you amazing healthy Americans for taking action and for being on board here. I mean, I did that in a video the day before. I think I did it on Friday, and already you've been taking action. And if you haven't, this is your sign to do so. So here's the first email exchange. And Jamie wrote, "Dear California Air Resource Board, I'm not sure I'm the first to mention this, although I doubt it will help because if your intentions were good, you would have solved this problem many years ago." She said, "I'll go ahead and file this complaint anyway. It's an obvious crime against humanity to spray the skies with known carcinogens and respiratory soil water contaminants like aluminum oxide, barium, strontium, lead, etc., even once, much less on a daily basis. This is a blatant and unconscionable act of war against the people. And I shouldn't have to point out to you that it is your job and your responsibility to prosecute the parties guilty of spraying these toxic chemicals in a grid-like formation into our air. To ignore it is to be complicit, aiding and abetting the perpetrators of these daily war crimes. As alleged protectors of air quality, what, if anything, have you done to protect the citizenry from this devious ongoing aerial assault? Do you and your kids not breathe the same air as the rest of us? Do you deny that these chemicals are being deliberately sprayed? Do you deny that this is a serious health hazard? If you won't stop them, who will? For the love of humanity, please do something and do it quickly." Jamie. Isn't that awesome? Round of applause for Jamie. Now, you can copy and paste her email if you like. I will have it in the Substack for you following this video, which means the following day. So I broadcast at 4 p.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. Join me. Don't wait for a notification. I'll be here around 4 p.m. Sometimes I have some technical difficulties. And then the subsequent day, the following day, is when my Substacks come out with links, written analysis, and you can model your email after this if you're interested. I'm sure you have your own choice words to use. Here's what the CARB responded. Now, I will say they responded really quickly. And I, again, put that as a tick in the win column. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. The title of Jamie's email was "Urgent Matter Regarding the Poisoning of Our Air." And there was a one sentence reply that said, CARB oversees mobile sources of pollution, and anything aviation related would be overseen federally by the Federal Aviation Administration. Thank you. What that means is CARB mobile sources of pollution, so cars, trucks, buses, I guess, because they're already outlawing the leaf blowers. I'm no fan of leaf blowers, but I am in favor of personal choice. So she replied again, and this is, I want to just again applaud Jamie because she didn't give up. And remember a couple of years ago when we took action against the transportation system, I'm sorry, the Department of Transportation in your state, because they had those crazy signs that said, stay home, stay safe. Like, okay, I'm in my car and you've got a sign on the freeway that is a road hazard for me to take my eyes off the road. And I researched it and I found out that these highway signs can only be about road hazards. And if there's no road hazard, like a road closure or an accident or something, they have to remain dark because it is a known hazard. So we wrote again and again and again to the counties, to the states, to the Federal Department of Transportation. And guess what? We got those signs down. Not after the first email, after a back and forth, letting them know that they were violating the law. And then they tried to come back up with it, at least in California, where they were telling you, literally, they were telling you to go on your phone. It says, go to my turn, app and make your appointment. Okay, that's on a highway sign while I'm driving. You want me to use my cell phone? So we called them on the carpet on that too. And those signs came down. It takes persistence. And here, Jamie is just an example of brilliant persistence. So Jamie writes back, Dear California Air Resource Board, thank you for your prompt reply and for pointing me in the right direction. Though the FAA may indeed be the ones with the ultimate jurisdiction on this matter, since the spraying are a mobile source of pollution, rather than merely absolving yourselves of any responsibility, I implore the California Air Resource Board to use its considerable power and influence to help put pressure on the FAA to stop allowing the destruction of our air quality and our once beautiful skies, the pollution of our water and soil, the harming of our health, the incessant geoengineering, tampering with the weather, and contributing to the devastating wildfires. Wildfires, they're completely natural, everyone. Don't question them. That we've been suffering from by the reckless spraying of such combustible materials like aluminum oxide, and it has been well documented. Obviously, an official complaint filed by a state governmental agency would have a lot more impact than any other complaint made by some random, she used a different phrase, but I'll just say agitated citizens who have educated themselves about the difference between the spray and contrails. Surely being sprayed like bugs with poison on a daily basis is a bigger and more serious danger than most other mobile sources of pollution. This is an act of war against the people and against nature, and we desperately need the assistance of our state officials, particularly those like you that are associated with protecting against air pollution. We need you to stand up to the high altitude and high level attacks being actively committed by or with the consent of the federal government. This is why the FAA has been willfully ignoring this for decades and will likely continue to ignore all complaints until a big enough stink is made about it. Your own health and everyone else's is at stake. So please do something other than pass the buck. Thank you, Jamie. So I want to also read to you her private email to me, and then we'll wrap up by talking about why it is so important to do this. So she says, hi, Peggy. Thank you again for your lovely email. I'm delighted you appreciated my letter. I salute you for your activism and for inspiring me to write it. Friends, if I've inspired you at all, my life has meaning, all right? That brings me such a sense of satisfaction that, I am doing what God called me to do. It may seem like I'm having a good time, and I'm having a good time pointing out all the evildoers, but the fact is, this is tough work. It's day in, day out. And I am on the job, literally researching, doing the Substack. I've got your emails that are coming in. There is a lot that evolve to use that a lot that revolves around doing this channel, which is basically my full-time job. And God called me to do it. I'm not doing it for any other reason than I cannot stand people to be bamboozled, to be hoodwinked, to have the wool pulled over their eyes, which is why I love having my Healthy Americans here, where we can support each other and say, you're not crazy. I'm seeing the same thing. There's a lot of value in that. They want to isolate and separate us and make us feel as though we're going crazy. That's the very nature of gaslighting. So I'm grateful, Jamie, that I could inspire you. And the email goes on. You're right that we need to raise heck about this, because if not, we're making it far too easy for them to keep doing it. I'm normally not one who bothers to petition the criminal governments. And as you can tell from my letter, I'm not very optimistic that anything short of a revolution will do anything. At the very least, these bureaucrats, as she wrote, deserve to be called out for their complicity and crimes against humanity. And I must admit that it felt good to send them that letter. I'm afraid it doesn't really convey how absolutely furious I am that this has been going on for decades. And now that I'm aware that they are also spraying us with the assembling, okay, some words I'm not going to say on this channel, but you can read it on the Substack, that many people already have introduced into their body. She said, I'm beyond irate. I resisted the temptation to include that in my letter, since it's hard enough to convince people, regular people, about these spraying in the sky. What a maddening, insane world we live in. Anyway, acting on the tip given by the CARB, I went ahead and I sent the same letter about the spraying to the FAA hotline, hopefully to the right division, the one that's labeled to report unsafe and unauthorized aviation activity that violates an FAA regulation, order, or any other provision of federal law related to aviation safety. Friends, I will have that link for you on my Substack. A reminder, I do not put these types of links in my description box because YouTube also has in its community guideline, and they said that they will give you a strike if they do not like the content on those third-party links. So isn't that awesome? That's why you need to go to my Substack. I hope that my Substack will not become one of those third-party links that they don't like. So suffice it to say, it's peggyhall.substack.com. I will have a link for you where you also can send your letter to the FAA related to reporting unsafe and unauthorized aviation activity that harms, that's putting safety at risk. And then she goes on to say, I will be sure to forward their reply if or when they respond. And of course, you have my permission to read my letter. I'm honored that you want to. So friends, this is how it is done. Huge applause to Karen, to Jamie, and to Greg, and to all of you that are taking action. Now, the fact is, we don't have control over our skies. I have no control to stop that at all. But I have control over my own actions. I have the ability to write a letter. I have the ability to make bumper stickers, and I think I will. Let me know if you would want to buy one, and let me know what it should say. Should it just say look up, or should I thought it should say, does this look natural to you, with a picture of the, persistent poisoning? So that would be one thing, to have the bumper stickers. I love these emails, and those are samples that we can send. So the only thing you really have control over, aside from your thoughts, your emotions, your integrity, it's your actions. That's really, you don't even have control over the results. And whether or not the FAA is going to do anything is actually not up to us. It is up to us to do what we can do. And I want to tell you why it's so important, even if the results are not what you hoped for. I'm still fighting the public servants in Orange County. I will have an update for you. We're still fighting. And we had 2 rulings in our favor. So I'm standing in that victory. It's just that the judge is not enforcing it, because Orange County doing Andrew Doe, like one of the most corrupt in all of Orange County. He is being investigated for all of the millions and millions of dollars that he funneled into his daughter, his 22-year-old daughter's nonprofit. Yeah, it was her first job, was to start multi-million-dollar nonprofit wellness. And I would love for you to call them and ask them what they do, because there's nothing on the website that says what they do. And the people that did call and who took action, nobody answered the phone. Yeah, multi-million dollars. All right. Like 13 something million dollars that was funneled to his. So that's Andrew Doe. His wife is the number 2 in charge in the criminal courts in Orange County. So you're going to see, you'll see how far my lawsuit goes, won't you? And we can't change venues because Orange County is like the most conservative county. What is it going to go to LA? I mean, come on, that's not going to work. All right. I like to interrupt myself sometimes, but here's why action is taken important. Even, and repeat after me, even if the results are not what you wanted, don't let that stop you. Action is important. I have 5 things. Number 1, it's empowering. Just like Greg said, he said, I felt great. Even Jamie said, I don't know that they're going to do anything, but I took that action. When you're not doing anything, it leaves you feeling like a victim. Now, don't take my word for it. Take an action and then report back and let me know how you feel. And use your own experience as an example. Think about times that you shared a video, that you went to one of these meetings, that you left a comment, that you made a phone call. These things can add up. And here's why. Number 2, you are educating others as you do so. Every time you send an email, somebody's reading that. Well, maybe it's a bot, AI, but maybe not. When you make a phone call, when you share a video, when you have conversations with people, there's an opportunity to share knowledge and information. I've been a lifelong teacher. So today, somebody said to me, are you retired? I'm like, do I look old enough to be retired? I don't know how to take that comment. But more importantly, it's like, I don't even believe in retiring, because I love to work. I love to do this. I love to educate others. I love to educate myself. I love to gain knowledge. So yeah, if retirement means just, like not being engaged in like our issues of life anymore, no, I'm never going to retire. I'm not old enough to retire, just for the record. Anyway, you're educating others, and it's so important to do so. You don't have to be a teacher to educate others. Just share the information. Ask some questions. I have a video, the one that's called Look at All Them Pretty Clouds, and I'll link it for you in my Substack. I think I'll leave it for you at the end of this video as well. And in that video, I give a lot of questions that you can pose to others. That's one of the best ways of starting conversations, is by asking questions, such as pointing at the sky and going, does that look normal to you? Do you remember seeing clouds like that when you were a kid? So you find some common ground and you get them engaged in the conversation. So the third reason taking action is important is because you are inspiring others to do so, right? Aren't you inspired right now by these stories that I shared? I sure am. And number 4, these actions repeated, this is what does make a difference. That is the key to accomplishing anything. Who knows? It might be your letter. That's the final linchpin. That's the, final action that pulls the card out from the house of cards. It's like a drip, drip, drip method that we are using to get the attention of these evildoers. Now, number 5, and this is one of my favorite reasons for taking action, it shows these public serpents that we are onto them. I find that very satisfying. It rattles their cage. I had a video called Excuse Me, Supervisors, where it was one of the many, many testimonies that I gave. Is that the right word to use? It was one of the times that I was giving my testimony. It sounds like it's religious. I was giving information and speaking at the Board of Supervisors, and these public serpents are so rude. They literally, one of them had the chair, those big, tall, like king and queen chairs. Oh yeah, there's some, I better not use that comment. They had the chairs turned around. One of them had the chair turned around with his back to us. And the others were looking down. Some of them were on their phone. And I said, excuse me, supervisors, we waited in line and this is how you treat us? And I called them on the carpet about that, and I rattled their cage. You should have seen them trying to scurry. I'll leave that link for you at the end of this video as well. So I like to rattle their cage. I like to be that mosquito that buzzes around, that bothers them. So the public serpents do know that we're onto them. Otherwise, why would the FAA and the EPA and the NOAA and the NASA, what does that stand for? Not a space agency. Why would they all have these printed fact sheets trying to slosh the hogwash all over you that persistent contrails are what make cirrus clouds? Yeah, I guess they didn't have fourth grade science class. So many of us are making complaints that they have to come up with this information. So we can't stop. We need to put the pressure on. So let me give you, actually, what I'm going to do, there are additional tips via Substack, and there are a handful of things that he recommends as well. And then, of course, watch my weather playlist with more information. And remember, I am marching this all the way to heaven, and I'm grateful to all of you who are alongside as well. Friends, one thing that I wanted to do, I know this is kind of a long video, but one thing that let me just grab this. I wanted to let you know that on my website over at thehealthyamerican.org, let me just take you over there. Some of you were asking, oh my gosh, my internet is so slow. I hope I've been on all this time. Okay. We're going over to thehealthyamerican.org, and under free resources, I've got this for you. So let me share my screen, and here we go. All right. So if you go to resources and you go to free documents, I've got a prayer that I wrote, and I feel in great need of prayer. I don't know about you, but here we have it. Here it is, the Healthy American Prayer for Activists. And I just want to read this right now because I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel the heaviness, the oppression. And I wrote this in 2020 because I was struggling. And here is what I have. A prayer for activists. Oh Lord, I long that people might hear the truth. Give me assistance in reaching others with my heart uplifted for grace and wisdom. Guide me to share my views with fullness of truth, clarity of thought, proper expressions. I'm still working on that one. Fervency and conviction. I got that down pat. Guided by your wisdom and light. Keep me conscious of my faults and flaws. Open my heart to hear the sorrows of others and shine your light of comfort and peace. May no soul be lost to your love. Strengthen me by your spirit. Stand between me and all strife so I may speak fully and freely and do this work you have called me to do in Jesus' name. Amen. Now, friends, I thank God for the gift of life. And that's why I'm doing this work, fighting for truth, defending freedom, and promoting health. I realize those are, I was trying to think, what really am I doing here on the Healthy American? And I would say those are three of the most important activities that I can do: shining the light of God's truth, defending freedom, helping us live fully and freely. I literally could not do it without you. So thank you, everybody. Stay tuned for tomorrow. Be sure that you're on the Substack, and I look forward to